Hi, my name is Jeff, and I am a freak. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Where are my freaks at? This book is a book I've been waiting to get my hands on for a long time, and it's not even out yet. A while ago, I read this book, Sarafina by Philip Fracassi, as the cover says. This is an early draft of the book that's coming out this August or September from Earthling Publications. It is amazing, which is very typical for Philip Fracassi novels. This is historical fiction of three brothers who are deserting the Confederate Army during the Civil War, and they're on the run. So they're running from Union soldiers, Confederate soldiers, and trying to survive inclement weather, beasties in the woods, and other sorts of dangers along the way as they try to get back home. It certainly is an ordeal. The brothers are at their wits' end, barely shuffling along when they find a cabin in the middle of the woods that seems to provide all the sanctuary, sustenance, and healing they could ever hope to find. And since you are in a Fracassi novel, that can't be good. Essentially, it's a story about forces greater than man batting humans around like playthings. War, political upheaval, weather, exhaustion, starvation, and the supernatural all come together against these three brothers. And what happens to them is, well, you're going to have to read it because I don't do spoilers. I will say this is a very dark and compelling book about the bonds of family. I mean, there's a lot that goes on in here because these are all the brothers trying to save each other, but are they? And some of the things they are running from are their past and who they are as the dynamic of these three brothers. Well, that's the early version. This is super dark. This is one of Fracassi's darkest books that I've read so far. I haven't read all of them, but I've read most of them, and this is pretty damn dark. There have been changes from this one, so this is why I cannot wait to get my eyeballs on this. This is the edition that, well, this is an arc of the edition that is coming out from Earthling. So all the changes Philip Fracassi made from that book have been migrated into this. So I haven't read this yet. This will be a new old book, a new familiar book, a book I have obviously read before, but I have some exciting new content waiting for me, and I can't wait to get to it because I know it's going to be an improved version. These novels, in case you didn't know, take on many iterations. The publisher, the author, the editors, the beta readers, they all have their hand in giving notes, and some of them are good notes. And in this case, they were. So I can't wait to get back to the brothers in this book and meet Sarafina all over again. I was lucky enough to get an arc from Paul Miller over there at Earthling. This is something that's going to be a treasure on my shelves, along with Boys in the Valley and Gothic. Those are Fracassi's other Earthling novels, and this is how I've discovered Philip Fracassi, through the arcs put out by Paul Miller over there at Earthling. And this one has art in it. Both Gothic and Boys in the Valley did not have interior art throughout. So Paul Miller's thrown a little extra something at this book. This also has the highest print run of the three. Boys in the Valley was 500. Gothic was only 235. And this one is 750. The art is by Chris Nurse, an artist I'm not familiar with. I've never seen his work before, but I hope to see his work in future publications that are on my shelf in the future, because his stuff is amazing. He creates these images that look like daguerreotypes. I'm probably not saying that word right, which reflects the photography of the time, of the era. Obviously, no photographer of the era would be able to catch such a seed. The shutter speeds being what they were. I think you had to stand there for 20 minutes or something. I don't know. Go check out Wikipedia. But the artwork is amazing, and I'm thrilled to see Paul Miller add art to this Fracassi novel. If I had to place this among Philip's catalog of books that I've read, it's hard. It is really hard because a Fracassi novel, no two are exactly alike. There are some overlaps. The incredible writing is throughout. You're guaranteed some incredible, beautiful language and immediacy, visceral contact with the characters and the scenes. But the themes of the book could be very different. The overall emotions, for example, Boys in the Valley was very heartfelt, coming of age, lonely, isolated, desperate, horrific, but very heartfelt. Gothic is old school horror, pedal to the metal, fun, dark, twisted, but it doesn't tug on the heartstrings the same way as Boys in the Valley. Third Rule of Time Travel is brilliant, creepy, genius. I mean, there are things in that book that are so well thought out about time travel and the consequences of altering anything in the time stream that is completely original and mind-blowing. Loved that novel. So they're all very different. This one is sort of an overlay of Boys in the Valley and Gothic. It has all the dark, twisted elements of Gothic and then some. Again, I've read the early version. I don't know how many of those things were maintained in this edition, but he couldn't have gotten them all out. There was so much great dark stuff in Sarafina, and it has some of those historical elements. I think there's a magic to removing the reader from the current time space that we live in and going back to a much simpler, stripped down time. Boys in the Valley was in the Pennsylvania Valley in the turn of the century, early 1900s. This is Civil War, nearing the end of the Civil War era, America in the South. And so obviously cell phones are not going to appear. Although I will say with a Philip Fracassi novel, don't rule anything out. But in this book, as in Gothic, Philip has you rooting for people, and you kind of wonder if you should be rooting for them when you get to the end, when you get done with the book. You're like, well, who really was the hero of that story? Who was the unblemished soul? And there are none. You look around a Fracassi novel, oftentimes everybody has these flaws, and you're just feeling that sense of dread of living in such an imperfect world. Boys in the Valley obviously is the outlier there as well. But I could not have been more thrilled to get this in the mail, more grateful. Love the artwork for this. Introduction by Nick Cutter. Philip and Nick Cutter are, they have great respect for one another. And Nick Cutter is also signing this book, I believe he is. You know what? You leave a little room for error. This is Beef Daddy, so I get some things wrong. But I believe Nick Cutter is signing along with Philip Fracassi. 750 print run. The pre-order is live right now. There are probably a dozen copies left. So as I post this video, there will maybe be less than, we might be down in the single digits. Who knows? But there are still some copies available. Do not regret passing on this. This is a tremendous novel of horror, historic fiction, and you'll love it. I could imagine this would be easily in people's top 5 books that they've read this year. So you're in for a treat. Don't miss out. Thank you, Paul, for sending me an advance copy. I can't wait to read this edition. I may read it as this, in this form instead of the hardcover, because I do have this book coming as well. And I will keep it safe in a bag, and I promise never to take it near a body of water, as I have been known to do with Earthling Fracassi arcs. So I may just read the hardcover and hold off. I don't think I'll be able to. Get your copy. Thank you for joining me this time. Hope to see you again next time. In the meantime, stay frosty.